Hey everyone, Miss GoElectric here in beautiful Chattanooga, Tennessee. Now, I'm new to this area, but there are hundreds of miles of paved and unpaved trails in Chattanooga and its surrounding area. So I'm super excited to be able to explore those. Fortunately, Aventon has sent over their latest generation of their flagship city commuter e-bike. This here is the Level 3. A couple years ago, I reviewed the previous generation of this bike, the Level 2, and I liked that bike a lot, so much so that I recommended it very frequently to friends and family, especially if they were in that price range of their budget being about $2,000. With the Level 3, Aventon has, pun intended, leveled up and added a ton more features and kept it around that same price point of about $1,800. So first, I'm gonna go into detail about the features and specifications of this bike, and then we're gonna take it out into the city and explore, and I'll share how it feels to ride. And then I'm gonna share the opportunities for improvement that I'd like to see and what I think Aventon did really well with this bike. The Aventon Level 3 is shipped as a Class 2 e-bike, which means the motor can help propel the bike at speeds up to 20 miles per hour while pedaling. It has a thumb throttle, which enables propulsion without pedaling, also to 20 miles per hour. Like most Aventon e-bikes, the Level 3 allows riders to software unlock the bike to offer assistance up to a maximum of 28 miles per hour while pedaling. This 500-watt rear hub motor can deliver up to 864 watts of peak power and 60 Newton meters of torque. A torque sensor determines the rider's pedaling intent for smooth assistance matching. The UL2271 safety certified battery operates at 36 volts using LG cells with a capacity of 20 amp hours. That is equivalent to 733 watt hours. The battery is easily removable using the bike's control pad and a customizable 6-input passcode to unlock. The bike comes with a 4-amp charger, which should deliver a full charge in 5 hours, whether the battery is installed or outside of the frame. Aventon advertises a maximum range of 60 miles with pedal assistance in eco mode on flat terrain, assuming a rider weight of 160 pounds. The bike comes in a step-over frame in the colors matte aura or matte black, and a step-through frame in sandstone or glacier mint like I have here. Both frames are offered in regular and large sizes. The step-over is intended for riders between 5'3" and 6'4", and the step-through frame can accommodate riders between 4'11" and 6'1". For added flexibility, the handlebar stem position is adjustable. The bike is IPX6 rated for water resistance. The Level 3 weighs 67 pounds and can support a total maximum payload capacity of 300 pounds, and the rear cargo rack can support up to 59 pounds. This model includes Magura hydraulic brakes with 180mm rotors. The trigger-style shifter and 8-speed Altus derailleur are made by Shimano. The front fork coil spring suspension has 80mm of travel, and the Kenda tires are 27.5 inches by 2.2 inches wide. A 50mm suspension seat post is also included. The color display includes a USB-A port, which can supply electricity from the e-bike's battery to mobile devices. The integrated headlight and tail lights with turn signals are standard. The Level 3 comes standard with extended coverage fenders and a rear rack as well. On top of that, Aventon offers a wide variety of optional accessories available on their website. The Aventon app is among my favorites in the industry. It allows riders to remotely adjust granular ride settings in each pedal assist mode, including creating individual cloud-based profiles. The app can record rides and allows users to engage with the enormous community of Aventon owners. This Level 3 features a new Aventon Control Unit, or ACU, with an integrated 4G data connection and GPS receiver. These technologies enable location tracking and geofencing, in which owners set geographic boundaries for operation. The ACU can be used to remotely disable motors and lock the bike. The ACU's motion sensor can trigger a tampering alarm and even send notifications to the app if the bike is moved or stolen. A transportation mode is available to disable those technologies for transit. 4G data connectivity is included for 1 year. Subsequent annual pricing is currently set to $20. Level 3 owners get Aventon's comprehensive 2-year warranty and the benefits of one of the largest dealer networks of any direct-to-consumer e-bike brand with over 1,800 bike shop locations. If you have an Aventon retailer nearby, they can assemble and tune the bike for delivery, make test drives possible, and deliver warranty service. Well, on paper, it doesn't get much more full-featured than this, but it also has to perform well on the road, so let's test that out. Now this here is my Unit 1 helmet, and it is a really incredible smart helmet that I have fallen in love with because it has so many added features. The integrated front and rear lights here also function as turn signals. The rear light also brightens when braking or decelerating. Those features enhance rider visibility and safety while riding. My favorite feature is the crash detection system. Sensors in the helmet communicate with the Unit 1 mobile app to send an SOS message to your emergency contact if you crash and are unresponsive to a safety check. The helmet has a magnetic brim which accommodates this default visor or optional magnetic lenses, including this one which dynamically transitions tint levels with up to 100% UV protection in dynamic lighting environments while riding. This helmet has several safety certifications including MIPS and is designed to protect e-bike riders traveling up to 28 miles per hour. Plus, I think Unit 1 helmets, backpacks, and other accessories look awesome. Now the Level 3 here already has turn signals, so I'm not going to use that feature today like I have on other e-bikes when I've used this helmet, but one thing that is cool is that Unit 1 has sent me a new accessory, and that is this adaptive lens, which just snaps on with this magnetic feature from the visor. And this is going to come in handy today because the lens will change and transition depending on how sunny it is. And with a day like today, it being sunny and cloudy, a big mix, this is going to be helpful for my ride. So let's get to riding. Starting off here in the Level 3 without any assistance on, just to see how this feels if I was to run on a battery. Now, this is just under 70 pounds, so I wouldn't want to be pedaling like this for a long period of time, even when I'm on a flat surface. But Aventon projects a good amount of range, and usually those are in the lightest pedal assist mode. I usually expect maybe like 35-40 miles. Now this is a 36 volt, 20 amp hour battery. So it is a bigger battery as far as the amp hour capacity goes, but it being a lower voltage bike is something to be mindful of when you get to those low states of charge. So if you do run out of your battery, you get down to a very low state of charge, that's typically when you see the voltage sag and you don't get the power that you get when you're at a full state of charge. So just kind of be aware of that. Turn my turn signal on here. I'm gonna go up into the city here and get in the bike lane. It's one great thing about Chattanooga is that they have a lot of bike lanes here, so. And they're protected. Now this is how you do it. And it's very hilly here, so as you can see, when I went up that steep grade, I wanted to see how responsive it was when you're going uphill. Now, of course, the pedal assistance is going to be varying depending on your preferences. I actually have gone in the settings here and have adjusted my turbo mode to go into the max amount of torque and assistance and power. So this is going to give me the most power available, but it is completely customizable. So you can really pick and choose how you want this bike to perform. So I'm not going to go through all the pedal assistance modes because you can make them whatever you want them to be, which I think is just amazing and makes it much more of a flexible bike for you to not only pick how you want to ride, but if other people want to ride your bike, or they can choose their own preferences as well. But right now I'm in that max turbo mode, and I'm actually only in the 6th gear. This torque sensor is extremely smooth.
And I have actually unlocked this bike to the top speed of 28 miles per hour. So I'm in the top gear now and I'm pedaling as hard as I can, and I'm on a flat surface and I'm hitting that 28 perfectly. So it does what it says it's gonna do as far as performance. Now, you do have to put in the work to get up to that speed, unless you're going downhill, of course, but I think that it's nice to see that it's delivering on its expectations there, because the previous generation of the Level 2 actually didn't have as high of a top speed. And with a bike like this, especially if you're going to be riding amongst traffic, if you don't have such an amazing protected bike lane like this, then you're going to want to make sure that you can keep up with that traffic. So I like that Aventon decided to go in that direction. Now, the riding position feels similar to what I felt in the Level 2. I'm leaning over a slight bit. You know, that's fine for regular commuting and everything like that. But one thing that I would like to see is an upgrade of the grips. I love this material and everything like that. But since I have some downward pressure on my palms, it'd be really great if there was like a paddle shape, because when you're riding for longer periods of time, you just want to reduce that fatigue on the pads of your hands. Well, this is not a bad way to see the city, is it? And I love that this town has these city bikes here, so you can pick them up at any time and ride them around. Another great thing is, you know, a bike like this is I can take it to whatever trail I want to go on, and there are so many to explore in this city. So I'm gonna actually take a left up on this bike lane and go through the little downtown a little bit more. Another thing you want in a commuter bike is definitely going to be turn signals, because again, if you're riding amongst traffic, it's always great to have an alert system, something telling people know what your intentions are. All right, take off here, and actually I'm just gonna take off in the throttle. Very smooth and gradual acceleration. It's not jumpy at all, which I love to see with a throttle like this. It's a thumb throttle. Just be aware of this guy. Very smooth power as far as this throttle goes though, so I'm really happy about that performance. The saddle, I like that it's wide. I would like to see a little bit more foam padding, especially because with a bike like this, you're gonna wanna be riding it and spending a lot of time on it, so you wanna be comfortable. But luckily, if this is something that isn't comfortable for you, that's a really easy, quick swap. You can buy a seat on Amazon for like under $20 and be happy as a clam. But these hydraulic brakes are really nice. I like the performance of them and also the delivery of the braking. So that's always something nice about the hydraulics, is that you can get to a stop pretty immediately. This torque sensor is so smooth. I'm really happy about its performance. I love that this screen on the app, or I'm recording my rides, is showing me the map and showing me all these little side streets and a couple of the points of interest. So if I want to go to, like, you know, one of these restaurants or a coffee shop or anything like that, I can glance down and see it pretty easily on here. One thing that I think would be really cool though is if you did a nice route, you recorded that route, and then you were able to share it with the Aventon community by sending that same route directly to their Aventon app. I'm gonna try and see how this throttle performs on this steep hill coming up here, because this is a 60 Newton meter torque for this bike. And so let's see how it performs when going up a really steep grade. I'm full blast here and I'm still going about 15 miles per hour. I think that's pretty good actually. I was a little worried when I saw that 60 Newton meters as the maximum, that wouldn't be enough, but there's no one behind me, and you know, usually in downtown it's 25 mile per hour max, so I could pedal more in order to get, you know, up to speed a little bit better, but I'm pretty happy with that. I love that this app shows the blue line because it kind of helps me indicate how to get back to where I was going. But I do wish that there was some navigation elements in this app. If I could just program in a destination or click on one of these points of interest and then have it navigate me while still staying inside the app, I think that would be pretty cool. Sometimes there's stuff in the bike lanes and they don't clean them up very often, and I wish there would be a little bit more priority on that because we could reduce congestion and traffic if we kept it safe for bikers to ride. Beautiful to go over this riverfront. Now, when you are traveling at those higher speeds of up to 28 miles per hour, not only do I like to have a helmet like this, but one thing that I like about this particular helmet is the ability to put those visors on really quickly with the magnetic clasp on the front. Not only to protect your eyes when you're going really fast, but the fact that they do an automatic transition is super cool, especially for days like today where it's kind of going in and out of sunny and cloudy. All right, well, I think it's time to head back and I'm gonna share my final thoughts on the Aventon Level 3. Well, unfortunately, the other day we got rained out and we weren't able to finish up the review, but we're back in downtown Chattanooga today to do so, and any excuse to get us back down here, I'm okay with. But now it's time for us to get into the opportunities for improvement that I'd like to see for this Level 3 and the things that I thought Aventon did really well with this bike. So we're gonna start off first with the opportunities for improvement, and the first one for me has to be the positioning of the charge port. It is underneath that frame, and the problem with this is that the connector itself is round, but there are 3 pins that have to go in a specific direction in order to fit and lock into the charge port. So in order to put it in, you can't just feel around, you really have to get around the frame and look at it and plug it in that way. So there's a couple ways that you could solve this problem. The first being that the connector could be a different shape so that it would have a protrusion on it, and that way you could just feel around and put it in the right position very easily. Or the second would be to put it in a different location, which Aventon has done before with the new Abound that we just reviewed. It was actually on top here with this rubber piece, so it was easier to find. Or they've also implemented it where it's in the side of the frame. The next opportunity for improvement that I'd like to see has to deal with comfort. Now, I know that this is a commuter bike and those are usually geared more towards efficiency. It is not a cruiser, which are designed for comfort, but there is more opportunity for comfort in this bike. And the first point that I want to bring up has to deal with the saddle. I think that the saddle is not that comfortable. It's very, very firm, and I'd like to see something a little bit more soft for longer ride periods that would make it more comfortable. And next has to deal with the grips here. Now, when you're in this riding position where you're leaning forward a little bit, since it is a commuter, you have a lot of pressure on the pads of your hands. So I would like to see a little bit more substance here, a paddle shape of some sort, in order to relieve a little bit of that fatigue from your hands while you're riding for longer periods of times and commuting. Another opportunity for improvement has to deal with the rear rack back here. Now, I like that this has a 59-pound payload, but I wish that it had a quick release system built into it so that you can easily put on a basket or a cooler or any other kind of accessory really quickly and easily. Some brands use MIKHD, which is a nice system, and there are a lot of accessories that go along with it, and some brands have designed their own. Either way, I think a quick release system on the rear rack would be awesome to see. And the final opportunity for improvement that I'd like to see has to deal with the turn signals and really riding amongst traffic. I love that there are turn signals in the back of the bike, but when you're riding amongst traffic, you still have to signal with your own physical hand on the front of the bike for traffic to see what you're intending to do. So if they had front turn signals, that would be great. And of course, this does not have a bell or an electric horn so that you can alert people around you, whether it's pedestrians or people when you're passing them on the trail, or when you're riding amongst traffic and you need to alert other drivers around you. So I would like to see the addition of a bell, or even better, an electric horn, so that people, even if they're inside their car and you beep that horn, they'll be able to hear you. So now let's get into the things that I think Aventon did really well with this bike. And I must preface that with this commuter bike is a 10 out of 10 for me, and one that I will be recommending to my friends and family. But the first thing that I want to point out as to why I think this is such a great bike is because of all the tech that is included. It does anything that you could want it to do in a city environment as far as security goes, like having features of locking out the motor if you wanted to, locking in your battery, requiring a passcode to operate the bike. You can also geofence a certain location so it can't be taken out of that area. And it has an alarm system to alert you when someone's trying to move your bike. And the ACU allows for a great deal of customization. So if you want to adjust the top speed, or if you want to make adjustments to each one of the pedal assistant modes, you can. And not only that, but those different adjustments can be saved to a cloud-based profile so that multiple different riders can have a completely different experience on the same bike. And the ACU is accessible through the app, which has a lot of really great features, like being able to record your rides and see the map while you're riding along. It also has a community in there where people can share their experiences of riding and their rides themselves, and maybe even share their pictures and get together for a group ride. And the community is something that I think is very underrated, and I think Aventon does very right in comparison to a lot of brands out there. Another thing the ACU allows is firmware and over-the-air updates so that this bike can continue to improve over time. And one thing I wouldn't mind them including on one of those updates in the future is to have cruise control, because with a commuter, that's something that you might want to use, especially for longer rides. And other competitors in this class already offer that. Now, another thing that I think Aventon has done well here has to deal with the power. This is a 500 watt motor, but it peaks over 800 watts. So I feel like the performance is really great, especially what I experienced going up a lot of steep hills while I was riding in the city. And not only that, but the smoothness of the torque sensor. I really prefer that because it feels more natural while you're riding in comparison to a cadence sensor, which almost feels like a jolt of power a lot of times if they're not calibrated right. And not only is it powerful, but that motor is also really quiet for the amount of power it delivers. So I'm really happy with not only its performance and how smooth it is, but how quiet it is. Another thing that Aventon nails is quality overall, and that has to deal with the build of the frame and how nice the paint finishes, how smooth the welds are. Not only that, but how it comes packaged and how easy it is to assemble, but also their dealer network and how many retail partners they have, so that if you want to go into a bike shop and buy a bike or have them assemble it for you, there are tons of locations to choose from. Not only are the parts high quality, but it is a very complete bike. It comes with very full featured fenders that go down really far to protect you. It also has that rear rack on there. It has an adjustable stem to get you in a more comfortable riding position. And it also has this suspension seat post. So some of these features are things that you would have to add on and buy after the fact in order to get those on your bike. But now that Aventon is including them, I think that creates a lot of value for this. So if you have about $2,000 for your budget to spend on a commuter e-bike, remember this is a commuter and not a cruiser, then this is definitely the one that I would recommend. Well, thank you all for watching this latest review, and if you want to learn more about this bike, I'll put a discount link below and a code if I do have one. We would really appreciate your support if you do buy, and you buy through that link so that you can support our channel. Until next time, drive, fly, ride. Go electric.